All right, so today I'm going to talk to you about outside of dating apps and social media, the reason why dating sucks in 2022. And it's not going to be any reason you are going to guess. As a matter of fact, I'll give you 5 seconds to guess it. I'm just going to watch the clock here. All right, one more second. Okay, so that's 5 seconds. You had it, so let's get into it. Now, I'm not saying dating apps, social media has no impact at all. They do. Social media is actually part of the reason social media is so prevalent right now is because of this specific reasoning as to why dating sucks in 2022. But let me give you a scenario. One, you wake up in the morning, you eat your bagel, drink a coffee, or maybe you just skip all that entirely because you're intermittent fasting. I don't know. But you hop in your car, you drive to work, and then from there you sit at your cubicle or do whatever you do on the job for 8-10 hours, and then you drive home. You get home, you eat something, whatever, and watch Netflix, watch YouTube, listen to podcasts, read a book, play with kids, play with husband, play with wife. I don't know what you do, but you do it. Now, in that scenario, what did you notice? Well, if you are a typical individual, you probably notice, okay, it's a normal work day, whatever, you have 5 days a week. But if you're looking at it from the perspective of dating, you didn't meet a single person that was a prospect for dating. As a matter of fact, you probably didn't notice that you probably spent a lot of time in your car alone. And if you live alone, or even if you live with husband, wife, kids, you're not meeting anybody else, or boyfriend, girlfriend, you're not meeting anybody. You literally just woke up, hopped in your car, drove to work, hopped in your car, drove back, and that was it. So now, of course, people do things after work. You go to the gym, you maybe take a dance class, maybe you go to the bar, maybe you go to a coffee shop, whatever it is. And these are good things to do. But the big thing I want to point out is this. You spent probably 10 to 20 to 30 minutes, maybe even an hour or longer in your car that specific day. And what does that do? What can have been done in that hour? So let's say instead of maybe driving, you walked to work, or you took the bus, or you took the train, or you skateboarded, or you e-scooter, whatever you did, however you got to work, you did it outside and around people. Now there's another problem too though. If you was to walk to work, let's say, it might take you a while to get to work. Even if you took and rode your bike, it might take you a while to get there. On top of that, who else is doing that? So that scenario brings me to the reason why dating in 2022 sucks. It's literally just how cities are built. They're built to cater to individuals, not to people, not to pedestrians, not to community. Literally, it's built around cars for cars. It's not built for people, because if a city was built for people, you could go outside and walk around and see people. But you go outside and you walk around and you see cars, parking lots, and buildings. So what does this do? Right? Let's take another scenario. Let's say you live in a city that's walkable. There's so many of them, but I'm just going to use a generic city. You wake up, you walk to the train station, you walk around everybody else who's walking, and you see another 50 people just in that walk alone. You get to the train station, you hop on the train, and now you're seeing another 20 strangers you've never seen before. And then you finally get to work. You have to now walk from the train station to work. You're seeing another 20, 30, 40, 50 people. And then you're at work, you're working, you're doing whatever you do. And then you do the exact same thing when you leave. How many more people, how many prospective dating partners did you see during that time? A lot. You've seen a lot more. But why is this important? Well, one, outside of just sitting down all the time, ruining your hip flexors, ruining your back, ruining your health, you was up moving, walking, you was getting fresh air, and that's just improving your mood right away. So maybe you're more receptive when you actually do meet somebody. But two, you're going to get into a routine. You're going to start seeing the same people on a consistent basis. Maybe you decide to walk to work with your friends. They're going to get to meet your friends. If you do introduce yourself to them, or they introduce yourself to that, or they introduce themselves to you. And so now you are co-mingling with a phenomenal amount of people compared to if you're just using social media and dating apps where it's one-on-one interactions on a consistent basis. But let's look at it from a dating app perspective. If you're a girl, for the majority of girls, every single time you swipe, you might be getting a match. compared to a guy where every single time you swipe, you're not going to get a match. It's very, very difficult for guys to get matches. But as a girl, you have the analysis paralysis. On top of this, you have to, even if you match with a guy, you have to vet him. If it's someone you're interested in that first place, you have to vet him, his friends, his job, his work, his physical appearance. You have to do all this vetting. As a guy, you're probably not getting any matches anyway, so I don't know why we're talking about that. So it's a lot of work going through these processes, whereas opposed to if you're walking around a city and instead of driving around a city and you meet somebody, because you're going to eventually meet somebody that you see that you're attracted to, you can vet them right then and there, maybe even through social media, which is another reason why social media is so prevalent, as I was saying earlier in the video, right? Social media isn't prevalent just because it's social media. It's prevalent because it's used as a form of social proof. It's a social identification. You know, if you're living in a small community of people, you're living in a small town, everyone knows each other, your reputation is going to be built off of everyone around you, so you don't really need social media as much. But if you're living in a town full of strangers, like let's say you're in LA and you just drive everywhere and you never see anybody and you finally see somebody and you meet them, what's the first thing they're going to ask for? Oh, what's your Instagram? Then they might ask your phone number. They're probably going to ask for your Instagram first. Why? That's social proof. They never met you. They never seen you. Now, again, compare that to the other scenario where if you're in a walkable city, you're constantly around people, and you're eventually going to see the same people over and over and over. And one of these people you're eventually going to be attracted to. And even if you're not attracted to them right away, they might do something unusual, or you might see them reading a book that you've also read. You're going to be able to vet this person slowly over time and also build up an attraction, you're going to build up some, I can't think of the word at the moment, but electricity in the air, chemistry in a sense, but tension, that's the word I'm looking for. You're going to build some tension compared to just driving around a city. If you're living in a city like Los Angeles, let's say, I am using Los Angeles because I live here now, but if you're living in Los Angeles, you're constantly driving everywhere. If you go to Santa Monica, the people you meet might live in Long Beach while you live in Santa Barbara or something of that nature. Very, very distant, very far away. And even if the person lives 10 miles from you, it's still going to be a 30-minute to an hour drive just to get to them. And notice I said drive. You're not walking. You're not taking the bus. You're not taking the train. It's very unlikely. You're probably driving. Now you're stuck in traffic. You're kind of irritated. You got to get there, cool off a little bit, whatever it is. So yeah, it's the reason that dating sucks in 2022, outside of dating apps and social media. And again, social media is being boosted up by this one phenomenon, is the fact that our cities aren't walkable. They're not made for people. They're made for cars. So if you was actually able to walk around it and live in it instead of just drive through it or drive to it, you would meet a phenomenally, I can't even think of the word or put the words together, but you would just meet a lot more people. So that's your reason. In part 2 of this, we'll talk about travel and how travel has affected things as well. But again, walkable cities, people talk about it in context of the environment and how if cities are walkable, you need less cars. If public transportation was able to make them walkable as well, you would need less cars, so less CO2 emissions, better for the environment, also less smog, less stuff in the air and less pollutants, and the population would be healthier. But again, talking about it in context that no one really talks about it as dating, if the cities were walkable, they'd be phenomenally better. Just look at pictures from the 40s and 50s. What did the cities look like? They were walkable. You see pictures of people just hoarded around, and I'm not saying hoarded around in a bad sense, but hoarded around as in you have a lot better chance of meeting people in real life. You can skip the dating apps. As a girl, you don't have to sit there and vet guys constantly. You don't have to look for that needle in the haystack that you want. You can build up an actual attraction to a man. As a guy, you can actually meet girls because you're probably not getting matches anyways. So that's it, guys. I'll see you in part 2.